there is one place on earth in the sporting world this evening where you might want to mind your P's and Q's, in Philly, all of the sports venues are around each other.
Yeah.
The Flyers are playing the Canucks. The Phillies are playing. And Mexico, Germany are playing in the Eagles Stadium.
Yes.
There's going to be 130,000 sports fans all in the same vicinity. So if you're around there, maybe mind your P's and Q's, because that could be a tough scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to stereotype, but like if the soccer fans come out and start getting a little bit rowdy, and there's like
With
I
the
would
Phillies
watch yourself.
fans?
Phillies fans, like let's say Phillies lose tonight and they get blown out. Like Flyers fans,
There's a jail
yes,
where the Eagles play, in the building.
Yes.
there
A
used
jail.
to be with the old one. I don't know if did they carry that over to the new
Yes,
stadium.
there's a jail.
Wow.
There's a jail where the Eagles play.
Yes.
Doogie, get a couple pics of the jail.
The thing is, I was talking to the Flyers PR staff the other day when I called that game on Saturday, and I said, "Where do you guys go?" He goes, "Home," and he goes, "Our next game." To your point, he goes, "There's going to be north of 100,000 people within that, a square mile? Not even, and all different types and different walks of life. Like that is going to be." All hell's going to break loose.
You want to be a big mouth in that environment?
Right.
Watch
any of the teams. You're right, because like soccer fans they are emotional, they get rowdy, they tailgate, they come out hot, and the Flyers are not going to be very good this year, but that's a rowdy fan base. Historically, a tough team, tough building.
Dude,
Phillies are playing,
imagine
like
the
you said.
parking lot right
Crazy.
now. It's
Bedlam.
probably crammed.
The best part about it is, and like this is the beauty of the world we live in. I'm getting heavy here, but like we live in the sports world, so we just assume everyone knows all this stuff. Yeah. There are people in Philly that have no idea this stuff's going on. Like they're just like, we're going to go downtown, grab a bite tonight.
Oh, imagine like
totally
a D-backs,
oblivious.
like a couple of D-backs fans just moved into Philadelphia and said, let's go cheer on our team and go to the ballpark tonight. And they hold hands and they're walking through, and people are throwing beer cans at their head.
Yes, that is one thing, and that's the thing. Flyers fans will do that too. Phillies fans will do it. I don't know who they're rooting for. If it's Mexico, Germany, that seems kind of strange. That's the match going on tonight. But yeah, you're right, man. Philly, that is not somewhere you want to be if you're just walking around. If you're looking for peace and quiet, probably wouldn't suggest downtown Philadelphia tonight.
No, and that's a city that's had some problems lately anyways. So Doogie's saying that it seems like the jail is closed now.
Is that right?
So,
There you go. Everything's changing in Philly. Maybe they got a whole new reputation down there.
No, I told you guys, I lived in Philly for a summer. On Locust Street. It was, I don't know, it's gritty there, but it wasn't bad.
It is a gritty city. I've only driven through Philly. I stopped. We walked around a little bit, but it was a catch and release scenario. We're like, we're leaving now. We saw what we needed to see. I think that's enough. And we made our way south. I think we were driving from New York to D.C., I think it was.
Yeah.
But Philly's an old school, gritty American town, man. It is an old school, gritty American town. Wow. And Brad Lidge will join us later this afternoon. He's very familiar with playing in Philly, being a part of that whole scene, knowing what's up in Philly. Game 2 of the NLCS tonight. Brad Lidge in about 25 minutes. Our best bets brought to you by FanDuel later this hour. But it's a Tuesday, early in the 6 p.m. hour. We ready to fire up some confirm or deny?
Let's rock.
I can neither confirm or deny that this is in fact a segment.
Austin trades Andrew Raycroft to Toronto in exchange for the rights to Tuukka Rask.
It's been my honor and a privilege to serve as the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey Club.
It's time for Confirm or Deny.
Do you regret giving all those gentlemen the no trades or no movement clauses?
Well, I can neither confirm or deny that.
I can't confirm or deny.
All right, Confirm or Deny brought to you by our friends at Don Valley North Lexus. Lease the 2023 RX 350 premium package from just $708 per month for 28 months. Visit DonValleyNorthLexus.com for all of the details. All right, confirm or deny. Statements are made. We go around the table. We confirm them or we deny them. Very simple stuff. Statement number 1. It should be full-blown panic in Edmonton if the Oilers lose tonight.
Is there such thing as... Well, there's no such thing as a half confirm.
No,
there's not.
You've
got to go all in
at that point. You either confirm.
I can either confirm or deny that.
I do not want to do that.
Neither confirm nor deny it.
No, you're right. I do not want to confirm nor deny.
I can either confirm or
Okay,
deny
Fergie, enough. If it's a blowout loss, I think there'll be panic. Like, I think if it's like wrist shots from the blue line that just find their way into the top corner, I think it'll be panic because it's like you started Campbell, then you went to the other guy, and now you're putting Campbell back in again. If it's a yard sale in net, but that's my if. Like, if it's a yard sale in net, I
Play
confirm
the
it.
Fergie again.
No!
I can either confirm or deny that.
Okay,
still are
I
not giving an
confirm.
answer.
If they lose and the goaltending's a mess, I confirm it will be like pandemonium.
Full-blown panic.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not there yet. It's 2 games at third. Like, it's not like
Yeah,
it's not
but
like
it's Edmonton.
10.
It's the NHL. It's Canadian hockey fans. You know how
I
it'll
know,
be.
but-
Noodles.
yeah, but I'm not a lunatic. That's the thing. Like, there's a lot of lunatics out there.
But that's
that
not what
would
we're asking.
literally say-
We're not asking
yeah,
about
so I'm
you.
denying it because I'm not a lunatic. Yes.
I see. I guess you're right because we are asking should, not will. Should.
Yes.
Yes, that's
Right.
valid. Okay.
So, but I would. Make some valid points. Like, if there's some wrist shots going in and some monkey business going on.
Yeah. Like if you're seeing scarecrow moves in the crease and it's just going, it's a.
Do you remember? Do you remember the scarecrow moves and stuff? You're like, oh my god! Like, anyways, I'm denying it, but now you got me going. Well, maybe there is, but I'm denying it. I'm going to hold fast there.
I'm going to deny it as well because it's 3 games. We're not
Right.
far off though. Like by this time next week, if we're talking, they're going to start 1-5 or something. But there are some scenarios that will cause panic within the larger picture. Goaltending struggling. If Darnell Nurse gets danced tonight at any point, people are going to say, what the hell is going on here? Like, it does feel like Darnell Nurse is under the magnifying glass. And, let's be honest here. McDavid has not exactly been on pace for 170 points yet. Right, Drysdale, like we're waiting for them to just completely dominate, and it has not necessarily happened. They were much better in Game 2. Game 1, they were invisible, like the rest of the team. They were terrible. So I'm denying it, but I'm not saying it won't happen. That's
you're Fergie.
Different
Give
one.
him the Fergie.
No.
Give him the you don't know
Should.
what the hell
You
you're
can
saying.
either confirm or deny
Should
that.
is different than will. I think it will happen because I understand the markets we're dealing with here. We're talking Canadian hockey. And this team has cup aspirations. If they start 0-3, people will be freaking.
Well, then get the wording straight, Fergie, for the next time. It just should be Edmonton loses 4-0, pandemonium.
All right.
Confirm or deny.
Then I would confirm that.
Yes,
confirm that.
Fergie, you're back. You're back.
Confirm that. Very different. All right, confirm or deny. Bill Belichick will be the head coach of the New England Patriots Week 1 next season.
I deny that.
Wow.
I think he weasels his way out. Is that possible? I need to know that. I can't look like an
Yes,
idiot.
of course he could. Or he could get fired. I mean, there's Teddy Bruschi. That's his boy. Teddy Bruschi is saying on ESPN he thinks it might be time for a change. Like Bill Belichick's got to figure it out here and just decide to leave.
Maybe
basically.
he needs to go to a team like maybe he needs to go to a team like the Chargers.
That's an interesting thought.
You know what I mean? Like a closer, a guy to get him over the top to say, this is how you win. Maybe Billy B needs to go there. I don't know. How old is the guy? Isn't he 70 years old?
Yeah, I think he's in his 70s now.
Dude, I'm telling you, I think it's going to happen. I confirm it, but I think it's a great Hallmark movie. He quits, and he tracks down the old girlfriend, and it's a love story.
There you go.
I'm telling you, it
and
happens.
then goes to L.A. and becomes a celebrity.
No,
Yeah.
he doesn't. He's got to get. That's why they broke up. She wanted him to get out of football. He tracks her down in a little Rhode Island town.
Maybe it's possible. That is possible.
Yeah,
Okay.
I still think I'm denying it. He's still going to be the coach there. He's a lifer there. Bobby Kraft's keeping him there. Believes in it. This is down
Nobody's
season.
a lifer. You know that. When things change and sour, everyone gets pissy. There's no such thing as a lifer.
I think he's there till he decides he's leaving, decides to retire, not move on for 1 year chasing. The guy's got everything. He's a Hall of Famer. You heard Marcellus said he's the best coach ever. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's worried about chasing another ring. He's gonna rebuild there, and then he'll retire after that.
Yeah, I'm going to confirm that as well, because I think there's an Alex Ovechkin element to this. He's chasing the most wins all time. They want that in New England, just like Washington wants it with the Capitals, Ovechkin to do that. But I think what will change is Belichick will no longer – they'll hire like a GM, which could lead to him saying, screw it, I'm out of here, right? But that's been a big part of the conversation. It's not the coach. It's the executive. He can't draft. He can't find talent. And he's going to have to turn over his staff, and he's going to have to get rid of his boys. And, that I think might happen. That is something where even though Bob Kraft loves him and should, probably has to have an honest conversation. Like, this isn't rinky-dink time. Get it together. So I think he coaches week 1 next year. What else he does in the organization, I think, is up for debate. Confirm or deny, Austin Matthews and William Nylander are the only Maple Leafs that have played 2 or above their expectations through 3 games.
100%, 150% confirm. I'll give Joey Wall some credit last night. I thought he looked good, but it's only 3 games. No one's going to freak out about this. They're slow starters. Maybe that's in their DNA. I have no idea. But those are you can't win with 2 guys playing good and everyone else just looking around. Oh, maybe they're going to score. Everyone's got to dig in and do something here.
Yeah, I confirm. There's probably somebody else that's played to their role pretty Ryan Reeves.
That's what I was going to say. This is what you expected. He's not scoring goals. He's not going end to end.
But it's been sexy. Those 2 have been sexy. Everybody else has been, not what we've seen the top. So I'll confirm that. Yeah.
Yeah, I will confirm it as well and I think more so exceeding, which is difficult to do. If you're Matthews and Nylander, for that matter. Both of them are great players coming off great seasons. To have people through 3 games saying, wow, I haven't seen him do that, or man, he's playing at a different level, that is very difficult to achieve. But there needs to be more guys that get to that point. And I was thinking about it last night watching, and it's impossible to replicate the energy that comes with playing in the playoffs, the passion, the attention to detail, the aggressiveness, all of it. So it's never going to happen. It doesn't happen with any player, and it never has in history. But Morgan Riley's got to get closer to how he plays in the playoffs. He's got to get closer to that. And that's not a reflection on just 3 games. I'm talking in general. This is a general conversation. The way he has flipped the switch the last couple of years in the playoffs has really been amazing, and it's been very beneficial for the Leafs. I thought he was, arguably their best player last year through 11 playoff games. And I think consistently he's been a playoff performer. So, and I'm not expecting him to play at that level all regular season, but he can't just take this big of a step back where he bleeds into a season during the regular season, right?
Yeah.
He's capable of being clearly an impact defenseman. He's got to get to that point, especially if there are other guys struggling like McCabe. Giordano's 40. He's getting paid a lot of money. He's been here a long time. Morgan Riley's he's got to be a very, very good defenseman during the regular season. Mm-hmm. So, that's got to come.
It's pie in the sky, but I always think that if you gave him 2 or 3 years ago a Josh Manson to saddle up with him and be a big, strong, kind of powerful defender and let him kind of wheel and deal with the puck, I think you would have got the very best out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's still in his late 20s, right?
No, I know. And you're right, Hayes. He's the one getting paid. He's got to go out there and play good. But if they had saddled him up with a type like a Josh Manson, I don't know. I think it would have brought the very best out in him.
Yeah, I think you're right. And, Brody, I think, has been a pretty good partner for him, but I don't think he's allowed him to completely elevate. And in the playoffs, he was playing with Luke Shen. He wasn't even playing with Brody. All right, confirm or deny. Bryce Harper is the baddest man in sports today.
I 100% agree with that. I 100% agree with that. I was trying to think about who's cooking right now as far as NFL-wise. It's not really. It's
Mahomes is still tough to He's.
But if you're talking about like captivating a city and just like literally making the people of Philadelphia eat out of his hands, like he is saying and doing all the right things. Like when you just go up in an interview and focus and say nothing about your own abilities or like modern day athlete stuff, you just say everyone in that locker room belongs in Philly and loves Philly, and it's like we're just made to play in Philly and win here. I don't know what more you could say to make people love you than that.
Yeah.
Like that is out of the textbook, Hayes. And you've seen all kinds of interviews throughout your broadcasting career. Like, does it get any better than that? I don't think so.
Well, and you got to perform afterwards, and that's what makes it a complete story, right? And defines you as a guy that's just, you're on the edge right now, man. And when you hit home run after home run, and he's the last 2 years in the playoffs, he is leading in every statistics. Like hits, extra base hits, home runs, run producing, like everything across the board. This guy is leading the way. So I will confirm it. I was going to say Deion Sanders until they blew that game the other night where they were up big at the half. Deion's he's in a pretty good spot out in Colorado.
I was going to say Messi, but isn't he still nursing the injury?
And it's completely faded, has it not? Like it's still massive for footy fans, soccer fans. Whenever he goes to any town, obviously in Miami, he's still massive.
But, dude, he was leading SportsCenter every night. I don't even see him anymore.
It was never going to happen because it's soccer in North America. It's not – when the NFL season starts, that's it. It's over in the States.
Careful. Let's just say that.
I'm just saying.
Let's not head you down.
It's the truth in the U.S. It's the same thing I'm here with hockey. When the Leafs start playing and McDavid starts playing – it's obviously there are different storylines that take a higher part. It has nothing to do with his career, his greatness, his status.
I know. But
the pecking order of the leagues in North America is my point.
So I'm going to agree with it as well because Bryce Harper is the whole package, and he's doing it on the biggest stage. That's the important part.
That's what makes this a very recency bias confirm or deny. It could change in a month, but as of right now, I think it's Harper.
Yeah.
Confirm or deny, Brady Tkachuk will finish the season within 10 points of his brother Matthew.
Within 10 points?
Yes. Last year, I think he was 26 points behind Matthew in points.
I think he's going to do it this year. Yeah, I'm going to confirm that. That's a good little tidbit there, Hazy. I think he keeps getting better, and he goes about it a different way. He's more of a grindy, like smash and bash in front of the net. Yeah. But he's a great power forward, man. Like, he is a hell of a player.
Yes, he is.
I 100% confirm it.
I'm confirming it as well because even if Matthew comes down 7 points, type of thing. Like, I don't know if Matthew will have that Hart season again. Like, it's hard to do that back to back, right? And Brady is very consistent, and we've seen him. Like, I laid eyes on it over the weekend. Like, he's
in
determined.
beast mode right now, isn't he?
He's determined. Yeah, he's very determined. So I am going to confirm it as well.
Yeah, I'm going to confirm it. I think Brady had 83 points last year, and Matthew had 109. Matthew's off to a good start. He's got 4 assists in 3 games, I believe. But Brady's got 6 points already. But I'll confirm it as well because I think they're going to meet somewhere in the middle. Like, I'd put money on Matthew finishing with more points. But I could see Matthew with 98 points and Brady with 88, something like that, and there you have it. You're obviously you've broken it down and you found a way to get inside that number. And if he's going to play with Stützle and if he's going to get PP1 and he's going to play a ton of minutes on a good team like Ottawa, they're a good team as we've referenced, and as Noodles you've been stating for years, this is what they're building towards.
Well,
he's going to put up numbers, man.
Yeah. They had a good weekend. Yeah, they had a good weekend. They're going to keep it going.
Yep, they do, for sure. Who'd they beat? Philly and Tampa, I believe, right? It was
Tampa
on Sunday. Tampa's getting people's attention, man, that it's not looking great. Like, it's early, but when Vasilevsky's not in net anymore, they got a different vibe.
It looks different. And Stamkos, the lower body injury, apparently I don't think he's playing. Are they in Buffalo tonight or tomorrow? I can't remember. But it sounds like he wasn't on the ice today when I was reading. So, they're in Buffalo tonight and Stamkos isn't playing. So, and the body language, too, on Kucherov and Point was a little bit weird the other night, too. They had some frustrations on the power play and stuff. So we'll see how it unfolds. Buffalo's in desperation of a win, right? They're 0-2 on home ice. So we'll see how that one looks.
That's a big one tonight. Maybe a little Confirm or Deny After Dark later this hour. Confirm or Deny brought to you by Don Valley North Lexus. Lease the 2023 RX 350 Premium Package from just $708 per month for 28 months. Visit DonValleyNorthLexus.com for all of the details. Our best bets still to come later this hour. Maybe a little Confirm or Deny After Dark. And Brad Lidge coming up on Game 2. Phillies, Diamondbacks tonight. His take on the Rangers stealing 2 in Houston, heading home, and Max Scherzer on the mound in Game 3. We'll get into a number of things with Brad as we look ahead to a big night in baseball. And, again, big night throughout the NHL with a lot of Canadian teams in action. We'll continue to tee it up. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. Well, Philly's probably already rocking because Igor Zamula has put them on the board.
Is there like 5:30 games now, or what the hell's going on?
Yeah, the Flyers are at home against Vancouver. My guess would be Philly's playing tonight in that soccer match. They're like, we got to stagger this, so this town is going to
make it 5 p.m.
Yes, and what game is at the bottom of the totem pole right now? Flyers. This early into the season. But yeah, there you go. Vancouver chasing it. Igor Zamula, who is on the board. I like that handle.
Defenseman, yeah. He was played the other night, his first game.
There you go. There you go.
Seems like he'll be all right.
John Tortorella, is he rocking a quarter zip on the bench tonight? I don't have access to the game, but
I'll take a peek. But honestly, like I told you the other day,
what was his spirit like, Noodles?
He was good. Like he just, what it is. I think as you get older, and this is why. Not every, the Babcock situation unfolded, but like not every hard coach has to be painted with the same brush. Mm-hmm. Like Torts was a guy who, has moved around, but I think he's adapted his style. He's still hard, and I think he's still a straight shooter that hurts some people's feelings. But, I think he's adapted to kind of the new athlete. And, he looked in control the other night, and I didn't think, or the other afternoon. It was an afternoon game, and I don't think his team particularly played that well.
Maybe he's also saying, I'm older, I'm making $3 million to coach. I should just shut up and kind of get through this.
But I think he knows what the messaging is for what they're doing, right? Like they're making it pretty obvious. Ever since Keith Jones took over, they're tanking. Like they are unloading pieces, and they're a bad team. They've been bad for years. Really, they have not been an overly competitive team for quite some time. And that's a historically great hockey market with a rich history of being very competitive, generally year in, year out. So they're going through a tough swing. And it doesn't matter what Tortorella does behind the bench. You're not finding talent. He's got what he's got.
And Hayes, they did the one thing you cannot do. It'll set your organization back 8 years, maybe more. I'll just call it 10. You can't fool everyone and try to tell people that you're going to be good and compete when in actuality you're trash.
Yep.
That will sewer your organization. And that's what they were doing for a long time. They were just like, we're going to sign this guy and we're going to compete. We're going to bring in that. No, you weren't close.
Yep.
I actually thought it was like, they're on paper, but it was like, no way, man. That will screw your organization for 8 years.
Yep. So the worst case scenario is when you are delusional, and then what you end up doing is you end up spending money on players who are good players. It's not that they're not, but they're not good enough to help you get out of the mud.
And you might make the playoffs and get dummied in the first round, or you might just miss out on a lottery pick. It's no man's land, and it's garbage.
It is.
That's
why Torts is dealing with what he's dealing with right now.
Of course.
Still, you can be tough on players. It comes down to expectations. Look at Lindy Ruff in Jersey last night. Timo Meyer and a couple other, well-known players took a seat basically for the entirety of the third period.
Perfect. Yeah. That's all you got.
Lindy got his extension. They got high expectations. He's like, I'm going to send a message early in the year. Jersey has not played very well based on their standards.
It was a good test for them, Florida going in there. Mm-hmm. And I talked to somebody out of Jersey, and they were actually looking forward to that game, saying, like, we'll see what we've got here for pushback and starting on time, all the stuff, and sounds like it didn't go the way they wanted. Now, they battled back at the end, scored late on a power play, but outside of that, like, you're right, like Lindy Ruff's Take an ice
Wasn't
time
happy.
away. That's all you can do.
Wasn't
right?
happy. And Florida was desperate. I think they were 0-2 going into that game last night. So
Yep.
you see that. You mentioned Buffalo, Edmonton. Like these teams that start 0-2, they're desperate. Like you got to get cooking here. Yes, it's a long season, but you get behind the 8 ball, man, it can cause you some real concern.
Yeah.
Brad Lidge will join us here in a moment. Houston is desperate as they go back to Texas. Arizona's desperate. Like, Arizona's got to find a way to get a win tonight in Philly, and that building is going to be going nuts.
Yeah.
And when Harper gets up, when Castellanos gets up, like, just across the board, this Philly team has been they got all the mojo. Like, they got all the mojo, more so than Texas, and Texas is 2-0 heading home for the remainder, or I guess Game 3, with Scherzer on the mound. Yet, we started the show saying we think Philly should be the odds-on favorite right now to win the World Series. And they only got one in the bank in the championship series. But it's been a lot of fun to watch them do what they've been doing, watch Bryce Harper do what he's been doing. And we got a guy on the line who's very familiar with pitching big games in Philly, playing big games in Philly, longtime MLBer, MLB Network. You see him and hear him as well. He's been on the show many times, and he returns tonight. Here's Brad Lidge. How you doing, Brad?
I'm doing great, guys. It's going to be pretty exciting at the bank tonight. Those fans have gone ballistic this year.
Yes, they had, for good reason, wouldn't you say, considering what happened last year, some heartbreak at the end, but they had a remarkable playoff run. They've carried it over this year, and we spent a lot of oxygen talking about Bryce Harper, man, and how he now personifies that city, the look, the vibe, what he did to that first pitch last night. He's got 4 home runs already in these playoffs. Like, what do you make of this guy's whole story, Bryce Harper as a Philadelphia Philly?
Yeah, it's been an amazing, I think, transformation for Bryce Harper in his career. I mean, look, for a long time, in D.C., people were saying he was the most overrated player in baseball, and he just wasn't getting a whole lot of love. But when he went over to the Phillies, I think it kind of corresponded with a point in his career where he started mentally maturing a lot more and really started, committing to the idea of winning and not so much about trying to prove to people how good he was by his individual performance. But, then he got to a point where he was like, all right, listen, it really truly is all about winning. Like, I know how to hit. I'm a talented player, but the way he's handled himself and the way he goes about his business, I think, is what's made everybody else around him better. He's elevated everyone's game for sure. And, I just think that he's matured a ton. He has got his eyes on the prize at this point. And I think, with 2 MVPs under his belt, the thing that he wants more than anything is that ring. And you're right. Like the way the Phillies ended it last year, little bitter taste in their mouth, but this year they have to be the odds-on favorite at this point. I mean, everybody on that team looks like they are playing at their peak, of the season right now. And that's exactly, of course, what it takes to win the whole thing. But the Phillies are in really good shape.
Brad, I don't know how you would handle pitching against this guy right now, but if I'm on the mound, I'm saying there's first base, go ahead and take a lap and you can go right to it for free. Like, why are they giving him anything to hit? And if, you get the signal that you're going to pitch to him, how would you go about it? Because it seems like if it's anything around the plate, he's hitting it yard.
Yeah. It's funny because for Bryce and frankly for Schwarber leading off that game last night, if the plan of attack was to throw a first pitch fastball down the middle, then they probably need to go back to the scouting reports and figure out a different way to go about their business. That was Schwarber leads off the game with that first pitch home run, and you're Zach Gallen, you're the D-backs, you're going in there trying to figure out a way to take the fans out of the game. Giving up a first pitch home run, 117 off the bat, is not going to do it. So, it's something they're going to have to go back to the drawing board on a little bit. Both Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly are great pitchers, and Merrill Kelly, pitching for the D-backs tonight, is really smart as well. So if there's one thing I know, he's not going to throw a four-seam fastball for a strike. First pitch to Kyle Schwarber tonight or to Bryce, because both those guys, and frankly, everybody in their lineup is doing damage on the fastball right now. But, I think Bryce, and I'll throw in Yordan Alvarez as well in that because, these are 2 guys right now that you just don't want to pitch to. I mean, the best way to pitch to them, frankly, is, with nobody on base. So get the people out in front of them because they're looking to do damage when they're up there. And they have gotten to a point now where I think with Bryce, both and Yordan, I mean, Yordan is basically David Ortiz right now. He's basically Big Papi in his prime. the way he's hitting for Houston. And Bryce is, playing like he's got his hair on fire, and you can see how bad he wants to win. And, yes, he made a base running mistake in Atlanta, but it's just because he was trying to score that winning run. So, he's not a guy you want to pitch to at all. But I would just say right now with the Phillies, there's a lot of guys you have to be really careful with.
Is there any mind games involved? If you feel like they're hitting so well, do you give them a little chin music inside? Do you kind of, maybe think like they've got to think twice what's going through your mind? Is there any type of intimidation that way?
If it's not a bad call, they're clearly way too comfortable right now. If I was pitching against them, you've got to get them out of that comfort zone. And whether that's, doubling up way off the plate inside twice in a row. If you hit them, you hit them, but you're trying to pitch in there, wake them up a little bit, make them conscious of that fastball in. That's maybe an old school mentality, but I think in the postseason and with how comfortable they are, it probably is something that needs to be done against them. There's not a ton of good ways to cool teams off nowadays because, if you go inside too much, you run the risk of getting these warnings or getting tossed out of the game. Now, the umpires would have a longer leash in the postseason, but it's in the back of a lot of pitchers' minds that they can't come inside the way they used to. That being said, I think that you have to do it. The comfort level is just so extraordinarily high. And the reason the Phillies were able to go out there and ambush the first pitch, for home runs the way they did last night is because they believe to a man in that lineup that even if they pop up on that first pitch, like the next guy's going to hit a bomb or the next guy. So they might as well go up there swinging for the fences. They hit 6 home runs in one game against the Braves, and I think that, they don't mind getting quick outs because they believe they're going to hit, home runs. So if I'm a pitcher, you got to take advantage of that aggression and throw them something with a little wrinkle in it first pitch and make them settle into it bad. Don't just let them get up there swinging from the heels on every single pitch.
Did I sound like an old man saying the word chin music? Like, is that I don't know what the term would be, but
I'm with you. If you did sound old, I must be old too because that made perfect sense to me.
Absolutely,
okay.
That's what Lou Piniella would say, right? It's like, just go a little chin music. Man.
Yeah,
send a little message.
But you knew what I meant. Like that's kind of what I was thinking about.
Well, and it's crazy because it's not. You mentioned Schwarber, Harper. Castellanos has got 5 home runs, man. Last series, he had back-to-back 2 home run games.
Dude, he was crusty again in his interview last night. The guy was like, the first time he said, bro, it's not a question. And last night he asked him a question. He goes, just take a look at the crowd with the camera. And the guy was like, well, okay. He just looked so miserable.
What's
I don't
with
know
that,
why.
Brad? Speak on behalf of your fellow baseball player. Why is Nick Castellanos so miserable up 1-0 in the championship series?
Yeah, that's a good question. Probably better reserved for him, but I think that's his personality is what I would say. And I think that, to be totally honest, when you get a bunch of guys that are kind of there's something to be said for guys that get there the first time and they're kind of just happy to be there and they've got these big answers and everything just feels great and wonderful, and it's like all of a sudden they get bounced because maybe their eyes aren't really on the prize. I think somebody like Castellanos, he's kind of crusty. He's not going to be satisfied with anything other than a ring. And by the way, we saw him slide into second base in the wild card series, sticking up his ring finger to the guys in the dugout. And I just think that's probably the only time you're going to get a smile out of him right now is when he actually gets that ring. And I think there's a lot of guys on the Phillies that feel that way. So, I think it's a truly kind of a blue collar type of feel going on right there. They're not into the fluff of, all the good stuff that happens after the game. They want to answer the questions and get back to work and win the next one. So it's a good place to be. I will tell you that. You'd rather be kind of there where you're like, not really wanting to be in the limelight so much as just win the dang thing. And I think that's where the Phillies mentality is. But Castellanos is he's a little bit different in terms of kind of answering questions, I think, just period. But he doesn't really like talking too much, I don't think.
No, but you bring up a great point. I think from a fan perspective, I'd much rather a guy who's dominating and winning be crusty than a guy who's losing that's happy, right?
Yeah.
Because it comes down to wins and losses. And who cares how you respond post? I think it's strange. Personally, I don't think it's necessarily normal behavior, but we're talking athletes at the highest level, and they're clearly on a mission. With Brad Lidge. As for the American League side of things, Texas does not slow down in Houston. And now they got an off day, Game 3 tomorrow, and Scherzer is coming back. The last time we saw Max Scherzer on the mound, it was up in Toronto. He got pulled when he was up here playing the Jays. He's not a young guy. He has not pitched in about a month. Like, what are you expecting from Scherzer going into Game 3?
It's a big question. And to be totally honest, looking at the first 2 games, I mean, Texas is obviously in a great spot where they can, say, hey, let's maybe roll the dice a little bit with Max and start him in Game 3. Worst case scenario, we're still up 2-1. I would be a little bit cautious. I don't feel like super optimistic about potentially, the results. First of all, the Astros play way better on the road. It's a crazy anomaly this year. They can't win at home, but they crush people on the road. So there's that. Number 2, as much as we love Max Scherzer and are proud of him for getting back on the mound, he hasn't necessarily been throwing the ball as well. He's looked a little bit tired, hasn't been 100%. And so even if he does go 3 or 4 innings, or he feels like he can go 4 or 5 innings, what would the results be in those innings? I think he's going to give up a few runs. He'll have to be super precise and at 100% to keep the Astros from hitting well. And I don't know if that's going to happen. So I don't feel super optimistic for the Texas Rangers in Game 3 as much as they have everything going on their side right now, winning both games in Houston. I think the Astros take Game 3. I think this becomes a bigger series. The Astros are definitely, a team that's built for a longer series for 7 games. So even though they went down 2 games, they're certainly not out of it. And I'm not, trying to poo-poo Max Scherzer in any way. It's amazing that he's back from what he went through and that he's trying to do this. But I'm just not super optimistic that the results will be great.
Always great catching up with you, Brad. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll do it again soon.
All right, guys. Sounds great. Talk to you.
There's Brad Lidge, former MLB closer, MLB Network host and analyst, and knows what it's like to pitch in Philly, pitch in Houston. I mean, if it's a Houston-Philly World Series again, that'll be conflicting, I'm sure, for Brad. But I guess you can't lose, right? 2 former teams, you can't really lose, right?
Yeah, it'd be good to. But if Philly makes it in, that city will be just
crazy.
You could ham it up in both cities, too. It's just like you show up at one when it's in their ballpark. Let's go.
We love you, man. You were a great Philly.
Get me on the Jumbotron, then get you on the other Jumbotron.
That's
so you're going to be Monty. That's what you are going to be, right? You're going to be grin screwing
the ultimate
everybody.
grin screwer. Just grin screw the whole World Series to death.
Yep. Just one-way tickets, Philadelphia to Houston. Grin screwing all across the country. There he is, the great Philadelphia Philly himself. Hey, there he is, the great Houston Astro.
We got to get a Monty logo for a T-shirt or something. Somebody, if anyone's good digitally, we want the words grin screw and Monty's face on it. Colin Montgomery with a big, giant smile.
Mm-hmm. Just that one that Hayes,
the one I
that
snapped.
you clipped. Yeah.
I still have it in my photos. It's one of the all-time great pictures I've taken on live TV.
Yeah.
Monty
so
at
we
the
need
Ryder Cup.
We need Monty grin screwing, and we need the logo. We just need a logo so we can make T-shirts or something.
That would be awesome.
Yep, we can make that work. Absolutely. All right, our best bets brought to you by FanDuel. Still to come. There it is.
Look at this bastard.
Look at that on the picture. You know how much weight we could push? We could sell 10,000 of those, I think, within 24 hours.
Yeah, it's almost Christmas. We've got to get the Grin Screw Monty logo out there.
You could have the head cut out, and then around it on the top you could write grin, rounding, and then at the bottom screw, grin screw. Above,
he is looking at whoever's asking a question saying, I hate your guts and I don't want to be here, but I'm going to smile at you right now. That is
the grin screw.
And then a nameplate on the back that says Monty.
Yes.
There's a lot of potential here.
Yes, Monty for sure.
Yeah, a Monty nameplate with grin, screw, and that face.
I would love that.
Yeah, it's happening. Be ready. We'll let the world know. I'm telling you, man. I think that
dude, I'm telling you, if you put that in a stocking, you'll have smiles around the horn with OverDrive fans.
There's a lot of OverDrive fans that would love that. A lot of fans.
They'd be asking their significant others for, can you get me a grin screw T-shirt?
Wouldn't that be great?
Or a hat, even if you get the logo grin
screw. Make
screw.
that happen. A little Monty on the back, right? And a little grin screw on the front.
That would be hilarious.
There's a lot of potential. A little flat brim grin screw.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, our best bets brought to you by FanDuel. Still to come. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, today's best bets are powered by FanDuel. Assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. We've been talking a lot about all the Canadian teams in action tonight, right? We're looking forward to that Jets game. Jets, L.A., Pierre-Luc Dubois making his return to Winnipeg. Mm-hmm. I think the fans are going to be all over him, right?
Yeah.
In warm-up, whenever he touches the puck, they're going to be all over him. I think it's potentially going to be a wild scene. You got Vancouver and Philly. Edmonton and Nashville, though. That's where my focus goes tonight. I'm on the Oilers' money line. I'm on Leon Draisaitl anytime goal scorer, and I am a yes for a first-period goal in the first 10 minutes. I think the Oilers come out flying. I think Draisaitl could be the guy that scores.
I'd bet somebody $20,000 cash that Draisaitl would score in
I
Nashville.
don't know.
It's a lot of money, but
dude, anytime he's there's a highlight of him ripping home a goal.
And they need him tonight. They need McDavid tonight. Like, and if they're playing
No,
together.
they don't, Hazy. No, they don't. They're a better team. Do you know what they need? What Noodles? What do they need?
They need a save tonight. They need the right save.
Okay.
The right save. They need the right save.
Right save.
The right time. Again, you can't get up 1-0 and then allow a deflating goal like that. It just affects the bench. Or you can't, if Nashville starts quick, which they're capable of doing, all of a sudden you're down 2 Cobb and you're chasing the game. That's ugly.
Yes.
I don't like that.
That's true. We do not like that. You do not like that. You do not want that. You need the right save. You need the right save. There's a lot of potential there, right? Got to happen tonight. We're mixing and matching, man. We're getting creative. The grin screw, little new kids. It's late in the show, man. Today's best bets are powered by FanDuel. Same-game parlays are now available for every NHL game on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly. 19 plus and physically located in Ontario. So, we got that. We got a ball game tonight. More likely to happen tonight. Leon Draisaitl scores a goal. Bryce Harper hits a home run.
Oof.
I think they're both happening. But you would think the pitching, they're going to throw this guy dirt balls. They have to. How could you start a game throwing Schwarber and Bryce Harper pizzas down the middle? Are you insane?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. I think it's Draisaitl because of that.
I think it's a power
Arizona's
play
got to have. Harper will get a pitch to hit tonight at some point. Assuming he gets 5 at bats, there's going to be guys on base. The score effects, all that kind of stuff. At some point, he will, I think, be able to lean into something. But Draisaitl, I feel good about scoring tonight. I do. Yeah. And I think 97, I assume he was not at Tootsie's last night and they had a good sleep. And it could be coming out of a rocket tonight for
Dude,
McDavid.
sometimes it's not like you have to go out till 3 a.m. Sometimes if you have a casual evening and you go to Tootsie's till midnight, 12:30, and you have 6-8 beers, it's not...
Well,
you're not getting gooned. You're just having a nice time. You're blowing off steam.
You know what that's called, though?
Valid.
You know what that's called? Taking a peek.
That is taking a peek.
You just go take a peek. That's all.
That is
You don't
very
have
valid.
to be in for the full meal. Just take a peek. That's it.
Just go and take a peek tonight. Go and take a peek. A lot of people taking a peek downtown Philly tonight. I think we're all expecting that, right? Where you got the Phillies in action. You got the Flyers who are playing right now. They're up 1-0.
I can't wait to see the footage of that
2-0
nonsense.
Just scored on a penalty shot.
Uh-oh. 2-0 Vancouver. Or 2-0 Philly against Vancouver.
Yeah.
So you got that, and then you got Mexico playing Germany for some reason in Philly.
I want to see all of the viz of everyone conjuring together after all of that mess and see what happens.
I want to see if Jason Kelsey's there again tonight, and Travis Kelsey was there last night as well. Do they show up again? And as much as Bryce Harper is loved in Philly, Jason Kelsey's not far off. He won a Super Bowl.
It's always weird when you're on the
starts.
practice squad and you can't leave the state, you can't leave the town.
Yeah.
Then you turn the TV on and you see one of your teammates at the game. It's like, hang on a second.
Yeah, what's going on here, man?
How does that work when no one's allowed to leave and this guy's in Philly at the game?
A lot of moving and shaking for the Kelseys.
I do not think he will be there again tonight.
We'll see.
Unless he's got really special rules.
Maybe T. Swift will be in attendance tonight. Anything's possible. All right, we're out of here. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for all the help. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today, TV, radio, podcast, web. We appreciate that. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at
Doogie Day 2. Excellent. 4 p.m.
We'll chat then.